Welcome into Inside LAFC podcast. We are live on LAFC YouTube. We are live on LAFC Facebook. Come one, come all. This is your show too. Get in the comment section. Leave your comments, your questions, your concerns, your praise for myself and, of course, Brian Dunseth. How are we doing, Dunny?
Fantastic, man. Talk about a great week. Not only are you climbing up the charts, more points in the back pocket, but a trifecta of golazos and the finishing ability from Sonny from distance. Chef's kiss of what we're seeing right now from LAFC.
You said it a whole lot better than I could have. We have a lot of ground to cover, and we got a short time to do it. So first things first, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We know you're subscribing. The YouTube numbers have been fantastic, and people are talking about it, and we love to have you. This is your show. Juice 323. He's in the chat room. I met him at the Fan Fest. Good to see you. And I reminded him we're very, very honored for our originals like Ruben and Sir Crispy who've been here, and all our new listeners. We are all welcome. Craig, Max, Brian, thank God you're back. This is going to be a fun show, not only because coming off a win, but it's fresh in everyone's mind. Sunday night, it was Noche de Carlos Vela. We'll talk about that and how it affected him. Beautiful tifos. Everyone out, everyone in their seats early. So pretty cool. So we're here every Monday, and we're in the stretch run. As Dunny pointed out, LAFC now up to 50 points, 3 straight wins. I think 1 loss in 10 overall, unbeaten in 10 on the road. They're going to be on the road again this week. So let's get into it. And again, let's a quick look at the comments. We know we're bright and early in Korea, and our loyal listeners there. Oh my goodness. I got to say this out of the jump, Dunny. Getting there early, and LAFC HQ, where all the merchandise is, right next to the stadium, they had to hold people out. And I went there, and I Trish, who is the manager there, she's like, there are buses coming there packed with people, and they're on a Thursday morning going in there, cleaning it out. They can't keep stuff on the racks. At halftime, I went down there. There was a huge line. It was 150 people to get into HQ. There was no chance they're going to get in there by the time the second half started. It is unbelievable. They're saying they're up 300% on a daily routine of what they sell. So, Dunny, basically I'm saying this, if you want a Son Heung-min jersey, it's going to have to wait.
Yeah, I'm going to have to know some very important people down at LA.
I'm not important enough, so don't ask me.
At some time, we're gonna have to hit that trip over to South Korea as well. So we got to make sure we got our Sunny jerseys ready and packed to go.
Yeah, listen. We have our translator on, so if you have a question in Korean, we can translate that. But we're very excited about all the stuff that is happening. So let's get into the game. It's very difficult to beat a team twice, Dunny. It's very tough to beat a team twice. Real Salt Lake came in. They were geared up. They had a very good stretch. I saw them when they rolled out there. And we'll talk more about what the game is. I want to get into just the overhead comment here from Sky High. And Real Salt Lake played well. They have talent on that team. And they have the 2 great youngsters in Gozo and Luna. I thought they were inspired, and they were locked in. And then LAFC conceded that goal, an incredible golazo from Brian Vela, which people are going to forget about because of what happened afterwards. But I just want to emphasize Real Salt Lake, even though they're deep in the standings, are a very good team historically. They were healthy. This was their season on the line. They played well, and yet LAFC turned that game in stoppage time in the first half and then seized control. And Salt Lake played well in the beginning of the second half, but then LAFC just ran through them.
Yeah, listen, I think there's 2 stories to be told here. The game in which I sat with my boys in the stands in Salt Lake City and watched the game firsthand. And the Sun jerseys, whether that were South Korea, Korea Republic, or Tottenham Hotspur, were all over Salt Lake City in the build-up to that match. And then a minor tweak, right? Tim Tillman starting the game in the hybrid, and I want to get into Steve Cherundolo changing up his formation and making these tweaks to get the best out of Denny and Sonny's partnership up top. But then starting David Martinez in the second game. And again, there's a change and shift in system where we call it a back 3, a back 5. Segura pinches in the midfield. Chouanier and Delgado kind of sit in pockets. I think Steve Cherundolo deserves a lot of credit right now because Pablo Mastrani and Real Salt Lake, they had potential. But I think in these 2 games, what we saw was there's a monster mentality that's happening right now for LAFC. There's a different level that they're ramping up on. And something that I said to you in the first 2 weeks of Sonny being part of this group was that I do think there's a benefit of going to Chicago, going to New England, going to Dallas, going even the short trip up to Northern California, because he's with these guys. And I think sometimes we forget there's a clash of personality, culture, leadership, identity, all of those things when you introduce so many different players in the summer transfer window, a specific late in the summer transfer window. But there is that benefit of the bond of brotherhood that starts to happen very, very quickly. So right now, I don't see, all due respect to San Diego, to Minnesota, to Vancouver, to Seattle, I can't think of another team that is really at this stage of the season a viable MLS contender the way that LAFC is a viable MLS contender.
This is Inside LAFC podcast live on LAFC YouTube, live on LAFC Facebook. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of ground to cover. I love what you said about Steve. And I was thinking about the year and how this is, to me, it is the most memorable year because it's so much has happened. And we still have the October and the playoffs, which I think most of us agree. I go back to the Club America game and all these highs and lows. The Club World Cup, Donnie, that was in June.
Yeah.
And here we are and going to the CONCACAF Champions Cup, which ended in April. I mean, maybe the MLS season is too long, but man, under all of that and everything that happened, Steve Cherundolo, who also announced he was leaving, and I see David Day, all of Korea is wondering why Coach Cherundolo is leaving after the season. Maybe he reconsiders. I doubt it, and he's not going to reconsider. But this is an amazing coaching job when you think of all the players that have come and gone. And we're talking about 10, 12, Cengiz Under and Dilrosun and Marlon and on, and injuries, season-ending injuries. And finally, holy smokes. Yeah. That is, this season could have, even with Son coming in, this season could have cracked.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it. But what Steve Cherundolo has done and playing to this team's strengths, finding those two guys who are incredible in transition, he deserves so much credit than what we're going to give him. Anyone's going to give him. Yeah. Because this could have come off the rails. I'm telling you, this is difficult work. When you tell a coach, hey, here's a new player, okay, make it work. He's made it work.
Yeah, and I enjoyed his post-game conversation. And I know we'll get to the Carlos Vela conversation, but he was referring to Denny Bouanga, Carlos Vela, and Sonny, and the opportunity to coach these players. And listen, if Steve Cherundolo wasn't a great coach, let me dumb it down for you, Max. These guys would have turned on him. If Steve Cherundolo wasn't as good of a coach as we know he is, the players would have turned on him. The big players, the Hugo Llorises, the Olivier Giroux, they would have turned on him. And they didn't. And why? That's because Steve and Ante and Mark and everybody associated with that coaching staff has created an identity and a culture that everybody wants to be a part of. And even with the individuals within the collective, there is a policing, a self-policing of themselves inside of that locker room that makes sure that they're all pulling in the same direction. They all don't have to be best friends. They all don't have to go have a dinner or a drink together. Because when you step on the field, that there is that bond of a brotherhood that we are going to fight together because we understand what we're capable of doing. And credit to John Thorrington and everybody else, because I can vividly remember my first two shows with you here, that there was significant pushback in the comments about the quality of manager that Steve Cherundolo was. And I remember saying to you real time and then post, I am shocked at the way he is being viewed because I must see it from 35,000 feet as opposed to being on the ground level. But he is an excellent, excellent manager. And my hope is that this season ends as strong as I believe it possibly will. And I think the history of looking back at Steve Cherundolo, when it's all said and done, will forever put him in the elite category of managers to have ever led the black and gold at LAFC. So yeah, full credit to him. I think he's reaping the benefits of, number one, every manager has a system, right? They have this ideological, theoretical way of how they want to play. But when you get punched in the face and changes happen, how do you adapt? And I think you did leave out one thing, Max, and that was Leagues Cup. Because I think what Leagues Cup did is that, and I mean this as a benefit, the Leagues Cup gave guys like Chouanier and Raposo and Smoliakov and even David Martinez opportunities to prove that they were the guys, right? They could be trusted, they could be leaned upon. And I think all of those moments are important, especially right now with the integration of some newer names and faces. And this team, I fear for anybody that they face. I mean, you go down this roster: St. Louis, Atlanta United home, Toronto FC home, away against Austin, away against Colorado. I mean, there's a potential for a 15-point run right now and a significant home field advantage in the playoffs. Because I do believe with the proverbial 6-point swings back and forth in the Western Conference, a couple of games in hand, LAFC has the ability to go in as the most informed team, maybe outside of the Vancouver Whitecaps right now in the West.
Amazing, really amazing. And look, Dunny leaves no stone unturned. I work for the club, and yet he's giving you these details. I thought Leagues Cup was a great shout. And David Martinez, Smoliakov, by the way, we're not talking about him at all. They leave him open because they have to, because they're keeping an eye, and Smoliakov drifts up. He was involved. He's so wide open on that first goal that he comes in with these crosses, and then he gives that depth to so many others. And yeah, Chouanier, Leagues Cup, hits the ground running. David Martinez got his showcase tournament, and now he played obviously a big role there. It really goes to show that this is a team effort, and there's a lot of guys putting their hands up. So I'm going to go through some of the questions. I'm going to ask you some of the comments. I'm going to ask you a question here.
Yeah.
Also, think about all those neutrals who now own at least one LAFC t-shirt. That's the big key.
Yeah.
There's a lot of new fans there. You got to lock them in there and make them LAFC fans. And I think games like that will make them come back, where they're just Son Heung-min fans. They will be LAFC fans. Dakug, I've never seen that line that long. You saw it, man. David Jimenez, Fax Max, that line was huge. I don't know about you guys, but even one down, I never saw it as being in doubt. Never felt we were going to lose the game. Sir Crispy, it was so nice to see Carlitos again. I really think Luna has to rethink that hair color. I thought it is him. I want good things for Diego Luna.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
I think we end up in third place above Minnesota. That was a comment. I'm looking at the standings. LA has 50 points, 14 wins. You mentioned the games. I think they will be favored in all of them. And Steve Cherundolo has been kind of saying, we're focused on winning all those games. And now with this week under their belt, they have a week to prepare. They have another midweek game coming up. I don't think they win them all. I think it's going to be tricky. That international break, we'll see what happens with the players. Denny Bouanga and Son Heung-min have games a long ways away, but we'll see how that is managed. There's always a conversation possible. I think LAFC catches Minnesota. They have 2 games on Minnesota. We did the Minnesota game Saturday. They have a real big issue with injuries. Their season's starting to crumble. And so mathematically, LAFC can pass them without any help. I think they catch San Diego at this point. I think they finish Vancouver first, LAFC second, San Diego 3, and Minnesota 4th.
Yeah, Minnesota's on the road at Colorado. Then they're home against Sporting Kansas City, and then they end on the road at LA Galaxy. There's a really interesting, nuanced conversation to be had now, because when you're playing against teams that are already out of the playoffs, it's a weird situation. I've been here, and you and I have called a lot of these games where you almost just gift the 3 points to the team that's already in the playoffs, because you're not sure. Are they a team that's going to fire a manager? Is it a manager that's already out of the playoffs that's thinking about next year and gifting more moments and opportunities to those on fringe or those trying to get new contracts? Or is it a team that's like a cat backed into a corner that's going to come out clawing? You don't know. You really don't. So you and I were talking about the swing of momentum. Minnesota is the perfect example of how something can go wrong in 2 games. Lose in the 120th minute in the U.S. Open Cup semifinal, and they get absolutely battered by Chicago. Whereas right now, LAFC's got 14 goals being scored, and their last 14 goals are being scored, 8 of which by Denny Bouanga, 6 of which by Sonny. So right now, in terms of momentum, it just goes to show you that at this stage of the season, it's not about where you've been all year long. It's about your form heading into the playoffs, because this is less physical. It's more psychological.
Inside LAFC podcast, live on LAFC YouTube and Facebook. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Did want to show you the shirt that Jimmy Lopez gave me. It is LAFC versus the world from the club. It's the old Club World Cup gear, so I'm taking it. Anything. Send me your clothes my way. And it's got a lot of great artwork on the back. Some comments here. And we're talking about our Korean friends and getting locked in. One mentioning Bouanga's Golden Boot win is possible. He is first in the Golden Boot running. Sonny is a legend. You won. Great comments. Jae-wook Kwon, I love you, LAFC. This is what we want to hear. From league championship to playoff championship. There is another comment from Korea. I think some of the people at Tottenham, I saw a comment. Tottenham could certainly use Son Heung-min. I saw someone saying that they on Twitter that Tottenham got fleeced in the transfer just because of the immediate dividends. We shall see. Great stuff all in all. And I saw some comments here about Carlos Vela. I want to talk about a very special night as we honor the man, the king, El Rey, Noche de Carlos Vela. We know Carlos is a pretty private guy. And then this was something that a lot of fans needed because they wanted some closure with Carlos to see him and celebrate him and show the love, which they did. And there was so much going on there. In addition to what's happening on the field, everyone was in the seats early and beautiful LA night. I will say this, and I want to get your perspective because I'm inside the Beltway. I got to this club same time as Carlos Vela, and he's given me so many incredible memories, and he set the foundation. And for all of that, I'm eternally grateful, and I'm happy he had this. But I will say, being there, and I was watching him, said hello. He doesn't show his emotions, but you could see him starting to crack a little bit. Yeah. He was keeping it. He was with his family, and I think he just saw it. Beautiful tifo from the 3252. Tifos on both ends. They had the tifo in the south end going around the stadium. That emotion started to show, and I was so happy for him because I didn't know how he was going to take it. Because again, he needed to be celebrated. I saw the ownership group and John Thornton. He needed to be celebrated. He is part of the fabric of this city, and he will be. And I'm just glad for the fans, and I'm certainly glad for Carlos. I think he really enjoyed the evening.
From a guy that is forced into retirement a little bit earlier than I had projected for myself, there's this wild kind of moment where you still think you can play, but you know you're not allowed to play anymore. And from a psychological standpoint, it's devastating because now you're no longer the player, the footballer. Now you're just the human being. You're just the dad. You're just the husband. You're just the son. You're just the brother. And that weighs heavy on a lot of people. And it is a bitter pill to swallow because your entire identity since you were a child playing the game is the ball at your foot. And to find out that now it goes back to the simpler times of just being a ball at your foot, you're missing out on the locker room. You're missing out on the camaraderie. You're missing out on the 5v2, the possession, the smell of the grass at night, you know, the intensity and the dopamine hit of that first whistle to the final whistle. Those are challenging moments. And I was thinking about this while I was watching last night from home. I'm glad it took that long because I don't think it ended the right way. And again, there's a bunch of different reasons, and it's a part of the structure of Major League Soccer that 2.5 seasons ago, the way that he went out thinking about an MLS Cup final, thinking about the next season, thinking about contract agreements and the value of the player, the value of the club, and still coming to terminology with Major League Soccer and being compliant all the way around. You know, we saw his return last year and the effort, the Herculean effort of his return to get game fit after being out effectively 6 months. And again, while it didn't end the way I thought we would kind of hope it would end, with him going out on top and lifting a trophy and all those things, I think last night's perfect. I think it's perfect because you're right. He's an introvert. He's extroverted as an athlete and as a player, but he is an introverted, proud, very well-established world footballer. And to see the love, it's touching, man. How can it not be? You know, like you get emotional when you see stuff like that because you realize real quickly the connectivity he had with the fan base and how much they meant to him and how much he means to them. So really cool to see him honored and really well-deserved.
And a great point, because last year was weird, man. It was weird, and and I think you touched on it. It's the realization that the career is ending. You still want to play a little bit. You want to support your family on the field, and it just didn't happen. Maybe he just needed to get away, and I think there was that closure. So I agree with you. It had to happen now, and if this happened last year, I think there would have been a little extra weight to it. But it was clean and beautiful night. It was Dakug. It was a great tribute. Very well done. Not too short, not too long. And following the victory, it was perfect. They had big fireworks extravaganza, which was amazing. Alan, me estoy ilusionado, Max. You know, Alan, this is real. It is real. It is all happening. LAFC is on fire. This is Benji, who has been a loyal listener too. Now that Son is up and firing, you can see that he still would be one of Tottenham's best players. No doubt about it. We'll talk about Son Heung-min. Again, this is Inside LAFC podcast. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Denny Bouanga, 20-20-20. 3 straight 20. First man ever to do it. And we also had hat trick between the two players. We are efforting that to see if it's ever happened in MLS. I am suggesting it didn't, but 2 different players obviously requires a little bit more footwork to find out, but we will get to that and we will get it to you. Maybe I'll tweet it out. Ruben, he did say about Denny. Why did Steve say about Denny, if he's around for next season, where is Denny going? Denny's under contract through 2027. We talk about, you said it earlier, everyone buying in and these rumors that he could head to Club America, and then Denny with Son coming in, that he's not going to be the top dog. You talk about players potentially turning on the team. I think Denny had all the ammunition to do that, and he did it. And he came in and he's adjusted, and now he is living his best life. He has 97 goals in his LAFC career. I want to remind everyone, he arrived, his first game was August of 2022. So 97 goals in 3 years and a month. Unbelievable. He's going to hit 100 here. He is the most prolific scorer in MLS history at this pace. 22 goals now. He moves to first in the Golden Boot. And if you're first in the Golden Boot, you got to start talking MVP, which is crazy because he was not even on the radar. I'm not saying he's going to win that. And he might get the vote split with Son Heung-min. Not that Son will be up for it because he joined so late. But at 22 goals, you've got to consider it. And if he's scoring, he's got 7 goals in 3 games. I think he's got another. I think he can get to 30. And you think the record is Carlos Vela, as we bring it all together, was 34 in 2019. So what do you see from Denny? Because 2 weeks ago, we were talking about working with Son Heung-min. Well, it's working, and he's taking it on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Scored that first goal when LAFC really needed it, and then had so many other players. Andy Morin was involved. Jeremy Abobasi played him through on that third goal. Everyone's sort of seeing Denny Bouanga and just flourishing it. He is, if he wants to, and to answer your question, if he wants to leave and pressure LAFC, he deserves to pursue that because he has offered so much to this club. I obviously want to see him here long term, but when you score like that, Dunny, there's going to be teams that are going to be calling. I'm sure it's a long list, but just this season, with everything that was put on his plate, with more criticism undeservedly sent his way, I don't know why, for him to come through like this and do it so quickly is unbelievable.
Yeah, the speculation surrounding Denny Bouanga is not going anywhere. It will always be there. And that's a credit to him because he's an elite striker in Major League Soccer and has been ruthlessly elite. Like you said, 97 goals in 146 games in all competitions is just a wild stat. And who would have thought, because that was when Chicho Arango was the .9. And here's some guy that you never really heard of. And for everyone says like, oh, I knew Denny Bouanga before. No, he didn't. And then he just showed up and he's been outrageous. So he deserves the interest. That's a different conversation for another day, but you're talking about a guy that's very well paid right now. And if I was John Thorrington, LAFC, I'd think about trying to figure out an extension on this deal. Because now that you have he and Sonny and potentially
rework the contract.
Give him 2 extra years, bump that pay up, and then see where everything lands after that. There's a short-term solution to that to maybe fend off some of the interest. But I don't think the links, whether it's club or agent or whoever involved, is going to go away anytime soon. We talk about 2020 and what that means, but I don't think that tells the whole story. I think he's such a well-rounded footballer with the way that he interprets the game, the way that he sees the game. And we're always caught up, and we do this thing where we talk about athleticism. We talk about size and strength and power and pace and all those. Denny Bouanga is the perfect example. And with Sonny, two incredibly intelligent players. Incredibly intelligent. They know how to simplify the game. They're technically gifted to break players down, isolated 1v1, 1v2. They already have a link up where they're finding each other with quick combination play. We saw that from the first 5 minutes in Chicago, that they already started looking for one another. So to see what he's done, you and I were doing the San Diego game a couple weeks back. I think he was on 15 goals at the time. And I said, yeah, duh, he gets 20 easily. And I wouldn't be surprised if he pushes for the top spot. And the form that he's in right now is extraordinary. So, yeah, fun to watch. I saw somebody in the comments ask, like, how do you even try to stop these two players? You kick them. That's the only way. You kick them by committee. You dark arts, persistent infringement. You try to get nibbles at them. You put the old thumb in the ribs or do whatever you can to agitate them. But I love their temperament. I'm just watching the reaction after they're getting lumped up and down the field. They stand up for themselves. They're combative when they need to be, but they don't go up and over the top and step outside of the boundary, which is the gray area of competition. So, yeah, we're losing superlatives to use when it comes to Denny Bouanga.
And how do you defend these guys? I thought Real Salt Lake did a really good job defending. Sun was looking for work half an hour, wasn't really a factor, and Denny Bouanga was getting defensive attention, but the supporting cast opened it up, I think. We saw that with Smolyakov, and then Martinez was also able to get loose, and then the defense softened a bit. Bouanga broke through, and then Sun finding the work on that goal. So let's talk about Sonny here, and not only getting technically the game-winning goal, he also his first goal at home, which he addressed and how special it is, and he mentioned all those things. He's keeping tabs. He knows it. I want to get to the comments here because folks are getting really excited. David, how are you? Why would you do this? He goes, I am starting rumors. Kane to LAFC 2026. The pipeline of Tottenham Hotspur, which includes Gareth Bale and Hugo Lloris. But look at what they're doing. Sonny and Kane, SK1 Yurok Park. Sonny and Kane are best friends. Also, we might see Kevin De Bruyne in the MLS. Chicago almost had him from when we talked to Greg Berhalter.
Ben Davies.
Yeah, Ben Davies. Ali, who they say are struggling. So I just will address it because you guys are talking about it. At least 5,000. If this is a Tottenham Hot broadcast, even more people. So we want Tottenham folks here as well to join the LAFC family. And so all these folks, they're all these folks that are Tottenham fans or Sonny fans. We're seeing that synergy, and we're very excited. I'm scrolling through. Mora, someone mentioned. Mora, who has retired, I believe. Someone mentioned that. It would be fun if there was one more of Dele Alli, Mora, or Eriksson came. Look at this stuff. Unbelievable. But let's talk about Son Heung-min and how there was a great moment at the beginning of the game. He went over and embraced Carlos Vela. That probably was the first time they actually met. It looked like they've been friends for some time. Don't quote me on that. It may not be accurate. They may have known each other through the circuit for some time. So Son Heung-min's is the story. He is the reason this stadium and this club has been electrified. Everyone's lifted their spirits. Everyone's lifted their game. But we called the game against San Diego. He hit the post. It didn't happen. People, it's people that may not know a lot of soccer are coming in there and they go, my wife was with me. And she goes, I really want to see Son Heung-min score. And I looked at her and I go, there you go. So it's this showman mentality. He's locked in about enjoying his football and getting results. And that goal, he's a right-footed player. He tucked it to his left and then just banged it up against Rafael Cabral, who I think a lot of people feel is the best goalkeeper in MLS. And everyone leaves happy. So this guy is happy because everyone's happy. And it could not have gone any better. And the euphoria is huge, but he's still very grounded. I mean, we're running out of things to say about him, but this is I, for one, it's such an amazing story to be able to follow and for him to continue to lift his game. We all now sit here for the next game and wonder what he is going to do, whether it's another hat trick. I think somebody said St. Louis hat trick coming. I wouldn't bet against it, but it's this team effort and Son's part in it. We had to kind of find out how to filter through it. but it feels like it's all falling into place really nicely.
Yeah, listen, I just want to talk about one thing, and that's his finishing ability. His accuracy from distance with both feet is extraordinarily high. Like I said, I was out in Salt Lake City watching the game, and he just hits these frozen ropes, these knucklers, and both feet. And if you notice, if you go back and watch his goals, and specific to the post he hit against San Diego, he actually hits the target. He's hitting the inside of the post, and the balls are redirecting in behind the goalkeeper. His accuracy, his power, his placement, the trajectory of the way he's hitting these balls, it's why he's amongst the elite of the elite. I was in New Jersey covering the U.S. men's national team against Korea Republic, and his finishing ability, even showing his 1v1, even when he got clattered, that led to the second goal, he had earned what would have been a potential penalty. So my favorite thing is that this is not a one-man show. My happiness about this is that it's not just about Sonny, is that Sonny has made everybody better. And now everybody looks at Sonny as an asset, like Denny Bouanga, that they can lean into to help sort problems. Because there's only a few guys in your career that you're going to be able to look at and say, he's special. He's special. Like, this is the guy that's going to get us out of trouble. This is the guy when we're losing, is going to get us the draw. This is the guy when we're drawing, he's going to get us the win. And right now, LAFC have two of them, and they like each other, and you can tell it.
They're inseparable, man.
I don't know if you caught this, but the post-game interview had Sonny, had Denny Bouanga, and had Mark Delgado. And when Sonny was asked about Carlos Vela, he said something that caught me by surprise. I perked up this morning when I watched it, and he was talking about Vela and talking about how long he's been watching LAFC and Carlos Vela. And he went into kind of this bullet point explanation of what Carlos Vela had done so well. And I loved how he kind of drew it back together in saying something to the effect of, when my time is done at LAFC, I hope the fans welcome me back to this club the way that they welcome back Carlos Vela tonight. And I thought that was I'm thinking to myself, dude, you just got here. That insinuates how long he's been paying attention. It clarifies how long he's been paying attention. And then how already he sees his responsibility as being an iconic leader within this club. And he's not shied away from it from a minute for a single second. And he does everything, right? He's doing press. He's doing, pregame hits, postgame hits, press conferences, all this stuff on top of being a leader amongst men. And so you can just see the way that they, watching them sit next to each other on the dais and watching the way they're vibing. I don't care how much money he costs. You never paid full value for him for what you're getting out of him since he joined LAFC.
Incredible stuff. I saw this one comment. New York Tiger came for Son, fell for Bouanga. LAFC here to stay. Lads, LFG. That is music to my ears and beautiful stuff. Son, it sees it, and you see the history of the club and how important this history is, and that transition from Carlos Vela to Denny Bouanga, who's bridged it to Son Heung-min, and you start thinking 20 years from now following this club. And I see people saying, look, this is a Tottenham podcast. We're not 100 years old. We're in diapers, and we're getting there, and this history continues to grow. And I tell everyone out there, if you joined the club in 2018 when they started, or if you joined it now, you're still at the very beginning. And to me, that's very special, and you can be that. So even if you're jumping in now, enjoy this history, and then tell your grandkids many years that you saw this guy and you were there. Very good stuff. Again, just keep that in mind with everything that is happening. Son Heung-min, I also would say this is not a shot at him. This was probably the least influential he has been since the Chicago game. And what it's done, because he's there, his presence, and he makes his speed, I swear he's getting faster, is it's opened up for players. Now, those players have to walk through there, but they are doing that. And this is all the Son effect, because there's so much wind in their sails.
System change, Max. System change.
Let me ask.
I need people, because I was texting with you during the game in Salt Lake. You have three different shapes happening right now for Steve Cherundolo. And it's all to allow Denny Bouanga to be higher and more central, and Sonny to be higher and more central. And then he'll still float out to the left and he'll still pop up on the right. But Hollingshead or Smolyakov wide left, Sergi Palencia on the right. Who would have thought that the Tafari would have the run that he's having in the team with Eddie Segura that then pinches up in the midfield? Porteous stays home. And when Segura pinches, then you've got this hybrid of Tillman or Chouanier or Delgado. You don't even have to play David Martinez. You can bring him off the bench. Right now, this team is so secure defensively. And then offensively, when people say 5 in the back is defensive, for me, it couldn't be further from the truth, because Palencia and Smolyakov are then creating the width that normally the 4-3-3 hybrid already creates. So credit to the staff and credit to the players for sorting this out as quickly as they have, because the system change has directly led to these 8 goals in these last 2 matches.
Let's talk about the back 5, and that's what it is. And Eddie Segura, we thought would be the number 6, but he's really laid back into the line. And I think it's here to stay because it's working. And it was hard to see how far along it's come, because the last 2 games, LAFC scored goals in the opening minutes, and they had to park the bus, for lack of a better expression. So teams were firing on all cylinders. Certainly we saw that with San Jose and Arcel on Wednesday. This was a different story where they came from behind. And I thought this is the best that defense has looked. And Kosi Tafari, another great mention for him, because I talked to him. I go, hey man, I mentioned it when he started his first game in a while, and he goes, no, that's it. I love being here. I waited my turn. Again, where you talk about players going to revolt, it was never that. He's enjoying life in Los Angeles. His patience paid off. Coaches say if you work hard, you'll get that opportunity. This was fast-tracked because of injuries, and we see that. Ryan Porteous comes here, and he's got to be over the moon because he's playing in the EFL Championship, and now he walks into that stadium last night, and he's a featured player. And it's got to be. I look at these players and I envy them. I'm sure you're the same way, to see that they're part of it. This is not a murderer's row back line, but they're making it work and everyone's lifting it. And I think if you think of a run in the playoffs, you know what you have up top, and you say maybe the weak link is defensively. Sure, but they're finding a way to making this as robust as possible, and having 2 game breakers allows that. I saw a mention about one of the new players, all the new players. Andy Moran looks like he's going to be a real factor. Alexandre Baluta hasn't been cleared yet, and Jailson is the other player who I think will probably see some action as another body to throw into that back 5, or maybe lock it down in the midfield as well. He will make this defense even stronger. But this was risky, and we spoke to Steve Cherundolo when he first used it. And he goes, the first game, which was the final game of that road trip, I think New England. And he's like, okay, certainly he did it for the San Diego game. Maybe we'll go back to the original 4-3-3. This is, I think, here to stay. This was the best way we have seen it, not giving away those opportunities where Hugo was a little busy. He wasn't busy at all, although Real Salt Lake had a lot of shots. Nothing really got through, and that's because they really packed the back. Yeah. And they were able to protect the back line when they were chasing the game. Excellent stuff. I just think the issue is making sure people don't get suspended. Knock on wood, no one gets injured. But I think Jailson comes in here, and it's a big part of strengthening whoever. It's collective, but I think it's good enough with the guys you have in front for LAFC to have a deep run.
Well, I think it's important, again, for Steve and his coaching staff to recognize a couple different things. Number one, you're getting the best out of Sonny and Denny up top. Number two, you're protecting Igor Jesus' injury, because you just lost your only real true number 6 until Jailson comes in, and we'll see what he looks like potentially in that position. And then number 3, you're getting all 3 center backs, including your new signing, on the field at the same time. So in Salt Lake, to me, it looked more of a hybrid of 5-3-2. Against Salt Lake last night, it looked more of a 3-4-3 type of hybrid. And then to your point, you still have the 4-3-3. So the idea that some of these managers are so stubborn that they just have to play their system. They have to play their way. You know, I'm a Man United fan, unfortunately, so I got to watch Ruben Amorim just talk craziness about his system, and that's the only way he's going to play. Well, then you look at what's happening at LAFC, and you say, hold on a second. In the last 3 games, they've had 3 identifiable systems, 3 completely different systems. The difference between the system in Salt Lake against Salt Lake and then at BMO Stadium against Real Salt Lake was simple. It was a Chouanier Tillman swap in the midfield with David Martinez playing a little bit more tilted on the right. Whereas Tillman was a little bit higher in the last game in certain moments on the press. So I can't say enough. I had a feeling Steve and his group, Ante, Mark, everyone involved was going to get the best out of this team. They are absolutely flying. And you and I have had many conversations with many managers for our broadcast coverage and conversations about how hard it is to sprinkle in these new players and the challenges from adaptation to switching up the system to getting the best out of them. You look at Portland as an example where things don't go well right away, and then it goes into panic mode. That's not the case at LAFC. Steve and his staff have set these pieces of the puzzle up perfectly, and right now this group is really thriving.
Inside LAFC podcast. We are live on LAFC YouTube, live on LAFC Facebook every Monday, 12:30 Pacific time, 4:30 Tuesday morning in South Korea. And like the video, subscribe to the channel. Bin fan, MLS is more popular since Sun joined LAFC. No question. And again, this is a very young league. We're 30 years old. It's a local league. Fans, it's getting popular in local circles. So if you're an RSL fan, if you're an Austin FC fan, you watch your local team. You don't really watch other MLS games. When Messi arrived, people watch Inter Miami. Now LAFC, which was a big draw for the neutrals, because of Sun, people are watching. So this is a tried and tested. This is involvement for the league, Dunny. So we need, like anything, you watch La Liga. You watch Real Madrid, you watch Atletico, you watch Barcelona, you don't watch Getafe. You don't watch Osasuna. So that's fine. But you need those 4 clubs. And if LAFC gets that, or if MLS gets that, it's a game changer. So we need, 2 more clubs. But if LAFC and Inter Miami are on that level, it's very good.
Yeah, I think it's just naive not to recognize that because of Sonny's involvement in LAFC, the FIFA Club World Cup, whether it's teammates on the national team or its former teammates and competitors abroad, it's a new set of eyeballs. And it's a co-signing set of eyeballs, where if they're going to say, hey, man, look how much fun Sonny's having. Let's send him a WhatsApp. Oh, my God, look how well he's doing. Look, God, LAFC, black and gold, the team that was in the FIFA Club World Cup. Like, we were talking about heading into the FIFA Club World Cup, an opportunity to plant the flag. This is a much bigger flag than any of us expected a couple months down the road.
Ruben, can we talk about the body slam Diego Luna gave Sergi Palencia? That was crazy. Sergi Palencia signed a new contract. Timothy Tillman signed a new contract. I love what you said about the Club World Cup because you connect the dots that LAFC is big time because they are one of 32 teams to make a Club World Cup. And that's something hopefully we can get with Son Heung-min the next time we'll get around there as well. Also want to mention our crack staff, a.k.a. our producer Sarah, reached out to MLS, and that is the record. 3 straight hat tricks. We talked about it earlier. It's never happened before for a club. So excellent stuff there for sure. And with regards to those hat tricks, why not make it 4 as we preview what's going to happen? Saturday, LAFC travel to St. Louis. Again, it's a very favorable schedule. I'm going to try and get to as many of these comments. Our Korean audience is going back and forth about who to sign from Tottenham Hotspur. Madison, Moura, Eriksson, former players, current players. What about, last week we mentioned the relationship with the club in Jeju province. Why not Son Heung-min not only drawing Tottenham fans, but the next young Korean talent because they want to follow in his footsteps? It's not out of the realm of possibility. Saturday in St. Louis. Can we get a 4th straight hat trick, Dunny? This is a team that is playing good. They won. They beat San Jose on the road. They've won their last 2 games. They're mathematically still alive to make the playoffs, but they're not making the playoffs. Everything has to go perfect. So, but this is a great showpiece, and they're going to be Sun fans in St. Louis. They draw very well fan base. It's a beautiful park they've had up there. We've been up there. This is going to be tricky, but I think the anticipation now is LAFC to win. But that's why I was joking. Can we get another hat trick? I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. The question is who scores it.
Yeah, listen, it's a St. Louis team that sacked their manager, sacked their sporting director, doesn't make the playoffs. They failed miserably this year after being the best team in the Western Conference 2 seasons ago in their debut. They have a couple players that when you look on paper, you're like, all right, Roman Berkey, Joao Klaus, some really high level Edward Lubin. But this is a team that's going to pivot really hard really soon. So I'm not sure what to make of. I've been in this situation where it's guys playing for their careers, they're playing for their contracts, they're playing for an opportunity to continue their career in a different location with a different club if they have the idea that they're going to be out. And it's going to be young kids that are hungry and say, hold on a second, I deserve a first team contract. As I say all that, the expectation is still for LAFC to go to St. Louis and secure the bag and walk away with the full 3 points.
Brilliant stuff, David. My whole family had an awesome time last night. Even my youngest daughter was dancing, having a blast. That is what it's all about. No one left disappointed. That was an incredible Sunday night. I doubled up. I went to the Hollywood Bowl to see Air. I need some sleep at some point. I had a good catch-up sleep last night. Craig Griffin, hard facts. LAFC had the best transfer window. Team is telling. Yeah. But can we put this up there as the best transfer window when you think about it? Obviously, you have Son Heung-min, but all the other guys thus far, Porteous, Morin, Chaunier, have all contributed in a big way. And
Thomas Muller was huge for Vancouver, but they had nowhere near the amount of quality players coming in that LAFC did. For me, LAFC easily wins the summer transfer window in Major League Soccer.
Ange Postecoglou to LAFC. Well, he just got a new gig, so that I don't think is going to happen unless something weird occurs. I saw a great question. Oh, here we go. Joe, Denny is ruthless, and that's a requirement for an elite striker, but I've always felt he didn't trust others to make that final pass. Where do you see his game going as he adds passing? Have we seen a breakthrough moment for Denny? I think it's occurring. His best is getting that ball on transition and going straight to goal. That's why he has 97 career goals. But
listen, I don't think anything's changed. I honestly, I don't think anything's changed. I mean, for me, I know we're trying to find these bullet point kind of stats or these bullet point kind of conversations. Denny's just playing with a better player. I mean, that's it. He's playing with a world-class player in Sonny. So his passing ability, passing range, creativity in the final third, the simplicity of playing out of pressure, that's always there. He's just got a better player next to him. It's obviously an upgrade from Olivier Giroud. It's an upgrade from, with no disrespect, meaning Kike Oliveira or Matty Bogusz or any of those other guys. You're talking about a world-class player in Son Heung-min. So, yeah, nothing's changed. He's just benefiting and reaping the award of a guy that wants to win as bad as he does, and two guys that really complement each other really well.
Rubens, Max, where is your Vela shirt today? It was eerie seeing it. I'm going to get one, but I didn't take any Vela shirts because I want to make sure everyone there had one. That's what I did. I didn't get my Denny Bouanga bobblehead for the same reason. I wait till everyone gets it. I didn't get my Hello Kitty. I get it a little later, hopefully, but I want to make sure everyone gets it. Some folks on our Korean viewers mentioning how in Korea they're talking about the jerseys and all the Koreans, the 1.5 million Korean Americans. There's going to be a new jersey next season. I can't wait to see what goes on. But LAFC, you can go to LAFC HQ and get what you get, but it is such a high demand. No one could have seen it coming. Hats off to everyone, Pat, and all the folks that are involved in the merchandise, because it hit them like a storm, and now they're dealing with it. Okay, so I think we'll put a bow on it this week, even though the questions and comments keep rolling in. Like the video, subscribe to LAFC on YouTube and Facebook. If you missed the game and you're in Los Angeles, you have a chance to see it on LAFC Encore, 5:30 local time on Fox 11 Plus, preceded by LAFC Weekly, where I give you the latest and greatest on the world that is black and gold. So comment, please send scouts to Korea. I'm telling you, man, they're already doing that. They have a relationship because of Son. There is a club in Korea, Jeju Island, that is connected with LAFC. Like there's a club in Uruguay, like there's Bayern Munich, there's the team in Austria, there's a team in Switzerland, the Grasshoppers. We've seen it all working. LAFC and Bayern, the red and gold relationship is good. Final thought for you, Dunny.
Big opportunity. You got to take advantage of it. Understanding that momentum is heavily in their favor. I think they're going to be at the stage now, if they can continue this momentum, they effectively are winning games before they even walk out of the tunnel and step on the field. So how do they take advantage of that? And hopefully, whether that's making sure that they're avoiding timeful, really costly suspensions with yellow card accumulation, making sure you're staying away from the red card conversation, and managing minutes when players are getting close to red line. This is a phenomenal moment right now for LAFC, and hopefully they can maintain it and continue to drive up that Western Conference playoff race.
I see a lot of folks commenting. I came for Sonny. I'm really now a Bouanga fan, and I think you're going to see that with other players. Here's a guy that you want to follow, Mark Delgado. Great story, and you can see how influential he is. But pick your favorites and enjoy it. Saturday, MLS Season Pass, Apple TV, St. Louis LAFC. If you can't make it out there, we know some people travel. The re-air is tomorrow, 5:30 local time. Until we meet again, this is Inside LAFC podcast for Brian Dunseth. I am Max Bretos. Reminder, let's go black and gold.